ask her to step off over to the right, and I'm closing my right leg up beside her. Now, I'm fixing to pick up this left rein, close that right leg, and just ask her to walk off a little bit. Now, she's kind of paying attention to me some. Alright, I'm going to turn around and look and see if my camera's up here. Now, I'm fixing to ask this horse to step over to the right by tipping her nose right and getting this leg in. Boom. Alright. Now I'm going to close this left leg up beside her and ask her to turn around. Now, she keeps trying to go over here a little bit, but we'll get that situated. Now, what I want to see is what happens when I sit down. See her kind of lower that head? And so she just keeps walking forward until you add a little more pressure to it. So what we're fixing to start doing is asking her to do a lot more stuff. I'm fixing to tip her nose left. I'm going to move my left leg back and ask her to move her hind end over. Now, I blocked her with this right rein. Okay. I'm going to move that left leg back and ask her to move her hind end over. I'm going to move this left leg back and ask her to move her hind end over. Good. Now, and I blocked her with that right rein to keep her from stepping forward. Now, I'm going to tip her nose to the right. Move that right leg back. Good. And block her with this left rein. She gets a little heavy. Block her with this left rein. Now, watch her trying to get out. She's stepping back. Good. And start working on. Alright, I need to move this leg back a little bit and get her to move that hind end over. Now, I'm going to block her with that left rein so she doesn't. I'm going to block her with the left rein. Now, finally got her to move that hind end over. Now, we're fixing to ask her to step back. Step back. Alright, now I'm fixing to move this left leg back. Alright. And ask her to move her hind end over. Now, I'm fixing to move this left leg back. Block her with that right rein so that she don't walk off out there somewhere. Alright. And ask her to move that hind end over. Now, pretty soon when she starts getting all this kind of stuff figured out, now I'm fixing to ask her to step back. Now, move that right leg back a little bit and we move the hind end over. Now, move that right leg back a little bit. Had to block her. Now, and getting her to understand the difference between moving her hind end over and moving her shoulders over. I'm fixing to move her shoulders over. Now, move her shoulders over. Sit down. Step back. Now, tip her nose to the right. Move your hind end over. Now watch her. Good. Now, step back, step back, step back. Now, let's move your front shoulders over. Now, I'm fixing to get her right here at the leg. Good. And we're going to ride out on her diagonal a little bit. Good. Fixing to switch back. Now, watch her. She's not quite getting it, but then she just did. Now, I just sat down, okay, and like normal it takes 3 or 4 steps. Now I'm fixing to ask her to step back, step back, step back, step back, move your hind end over. Good. Step back, step, watch her. Get her head in the center. Step back, step back. Now, pick up this right rein. Block her with the left. Good. And get her to move that hind end over. Good. Good. Move that hind end over. Good. Now, probably a little set of spurs would help some, but now we're fixing to walk this horse off to the right. All right, now watch her. She's trying. Good. She started to try and go for a turn, but now we're fixing to switch back. Left. Now we're going to close the right leg and ask her to step over. Now, I'm fixing to set down. She slowed down. But you see her go to chewing. Now. Good. Good. Now, right then was what I really wanted, was that release. Okay. And when she gets real good about this, now I'll move this left leg over. Boom. And that didn't have near as much block from the outside rein, from the support rein. Now watch her step back. Step back. Now, and move her hind end over. Good. Success is one step. Okay. Now watch her. Good. Now, step back. Step back. Now, and move your hind end over. Now, step back. Good. Little bit. Now watch her. Good. Right then, when she finally started giving to me, and like I said, this mare chews on that bit a little bit. You know, somebody probably never knew how to get her okay with that. Now, I'm going to close this left leg, move it back. Now, watch her. Good. I had to use the reins a little bit to keep her from walking forward yet. Now, move your left leg back some. Now, good. Step back. Step back. Now, pick up your right rein. Good. Now, step back. Good. Now, watch her. I kind of stood up a little bit and tried to sit down in that saddle. Now, getting this mare to soften up. She knows that left leg's back there. Good. And we turned it around. Good. That was nice because we didn't get that step forward out of her. Now she's fixing to step back. I'm going to tip her nose right a little bit. Good. Now, see, this mare is so used to dropping down and pushing into a set of hands that getting her to where she lightens up a little bit. Right there, I just lifted them to see what the response would be when I picked that set of reins up and lifted that bit up in her mouth. Watch her. Watch her. She's chewing again. Now I'm going to add some leg, but I'm not turning loose until she gets through with her chewing. Right there. Little bit release. So her starting to make the connection. Okay. Now, watch her. Now, that time she didn't chew because of the boards being back here. Okay. So her focus was there. Now, right there was a little bit of a nicer stop in that. Good. Now watch her. Watch her. Turn loose. See? Now, I'm going to ask her to step over here by closing this right leg. Good. Then we go all the way around. Now, we're fixing to switch back. I'm going to close my left leg and ask her to turn around. Now, she started getting heavy again. She stumbled, but that was a little nicer stop. Now, step back. See, she's chewing on that bit again. Good. Right there. I added a little bit to that right rein. She dropped that nose some. Right then. See, her getting the idea. Boom. Of dropping that head. Bringing that chin back to me. Right there. Just like I said, you can never get that to be too good. Now, watch her. See? Boom. Turn loose. When she starts figuring out where that release point is, boom. And then step back. Gets lighter and lighter. See, once you put a set of reins in somebody's hands, what they learn to do really well is this. Okay? They learn how to pull back. But now I'm going to pick this left foot up and set it over. Okay? So there was a little more lift in this rein than there was pull back. Now, I'm going to lift this right rein, put this right leg in and step her back over the other way. Now, she got real heavy just then. And I'm going to sit there and just wait until I feel that chin come back to me. You know, one of the things that I try and explain to people is my hands never show up for a fight. I'm going to set the boundaries. I'm going to square my shoulders up. All right? And then I'm fixing to work on teaching you how to step back away from that bit a little bit. But for a horse like this that has learned to test the hands, right then, she brought her nose back to me, which was really nice, but then she finished off by dropping her head down, and I just closed my left hand and said, go ahead. You know, that's your mouth. If you want to create some pain and discomfort for yourself, that does not mean that I have to add to your pain or add to your discomfort. Now, but you have to spend the time working on getting the horse to be lighter. And I'm using my legs a little bit right now, and she's stepping back away from that bit for me. You know. You get this kind of response first, then later on you start adding speed. But the speed needs to come through your legs, not through your hands. See? And just about everything you're going to ask this horse to do, you know, I explained that the left rein controls the left front and the right hind. The right rein controls the right front and the left hind. Now, when you're aware of where those feet are at, and I'm fixing to take a look a little bit, this right foot's back some, I'm going to pick this left foot up. I'm going to lift it a little bit and set that left foot back. See? Now, I didn't quite go to the lift as quick as I should have. But now, let's see about picking this left foot up and setting it back. Good. See? In order for a horse to learn lightness, and right there, she just kept walking into my hands, and I said, okay. But I just kind of closed them up. Now, I'm fixing to pick that left foot up and set it back. Now, you know, I run up on an awful lot of horses that nobody's ever offered them a feel, nobody's ever offered them any kind of lightness. They just get up there. The show this weekend, one of my favorites, these people up there doing this. All right, just steady, moving those hands. Okay. One little old horse in particular, he finally got to the point he was so sick and tired of it that when the rider asked him to go off into the lope, he just stopped right dead in his tracks and started arguing a little bit. Now, and when you start getting that response, okay, well then the horse will learn where the release is going to come from. Right here. If I pick my hands up, I'm pulling that bit up into her mouth a little bit, and she hadn't quite got far enough along yet to figure this out. But once she gets to the point to where she can figure it out, my stud horse, I could move my hands up here and he'd just drop his head. But of course my stud horse, I could go to close my fingers on that set of reins just like you saw her do, and he would bring that nose back to me. See, my hands are open on a set of reins. All right. And when I start closing, by the time I get that little finger closed, I'm promising this horse we're fixing to do something. Now, I may have to wait on you to figure it out, but now watch her step back. Now she dropped her head, went chewing on that bit a little bit. And I'm going to say, go ahead. Go ahead. And then I'm just fixing to wait. Good. A little bit. Then she wanted to kind of finish off by dropping that head on down. And when she does, I close my left hand. Good for you, girlfriend. Now, you watch her. Bend to the left. Yeah. Bend to the right. Okay. I've been up here for a pretty good while now. Right hip's starting to bother me a little bit. Now, I'm fixing to ask this mare to move her hind end over. Good. You see, that took a little less than what it's been taking sometimes, because she's starting to understand now. I'm fixing to bring her nose back this way. I'm going to move that right leg back and say, move your hind end over. And then if she starts to step forward, I'm going to let her run into that and finish off by stepping back. Now, I'm going to tip her nose right. Move your hind end over. At some point, she will get to the point where I can sit up there and drop them reins on her neck, fold my arms, and move that hind end over. Let's see how she'll do now. Good. All right. Woo. I have to get up here and stretch that hip out a little bit. Okay. Plus, I need practice getting that leg over. Need a bunch more practice. You know, it's kind of like her chewing on the bit. I need practice. That was a little better. Okay. Sit down. Oh, that was a whole lot nicer. Good. All right.